welcome to another episode of Tween Book Bites here at the Scott County Public Library in Georgetown, Kentucky. I am Kelly. This is Miss Mary Lou.
Hello.
We've moved locations because we have expanded our hours a bit. So we are open more than we were before, and there's people in the library, so we can't film out there.
Can't film out there anymore. That's right.
But that's okay, because it's time for summer reading.
That's right.
And on our menu today, our books, because it's Pride Month.
We're celebrating Pride this month.
Yes.
I think Kelly should stand up and
show
people her skirt.
She
bought a rainbow skirt. I love it.
Yes.
So our flamingos have got their little rainbow flags today. They're ready to celebrate Pride Month.
Yes.
And as we get started, we're going to talk about books that relate to LGBTQ issues.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this idea in reading, and I probably should have prepared better for this so I could quote the person who actually came up with this phrase, that we read to find mirrors, we read to find windows, and we read for sliding doors. And that means we read because sometimes we want to see ourselves. We really need to see ourselves in a book. Sometimes we read so that windows that we look through what another person's experience has been like and to increase our own empathy. And sometimes sliding doors so we can walk through and enter into new experiences and new ideas, broadening our minds. And so there might be, as you read books that relate to LGBTQ issues, these might be books where you see yourself, or these might be books that will help you understand experiences that are foreign to you. Maybe don't make sense to you. This will increase your empathy and understanding. So hopefully the books we're going to suggest today will help with that.
Yes, they're all real good.
Yes, and these are all
as usual.
They're really good. They're fairly new. I mean, a couple of them are brand new.
Yeah.
Some of them, like within the last year or so.
Yeah, and we know we talk a lot, and you probably get bored. So
we're gonna try to.
We're only gonna do 3 books each today.
Yeah,
we're trying to shorten our talking.
Yeah, Kelly and I, when we talk about books, get kind of carried away because we really love to talk about books. We've already been back there, warming up. So.
I just got here 15 minutes ago.
She's already heard my first book talk. Anyway, you want to go first? You want me to?
You go. You're very excited about this one. Or either one.
Oh,
yes.
This is my favorite one. I'm going to save that for last.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I would save my favorite for last.
That's fair.
But I'll talk about Spin With Me.
Okay.
Because this was a book that was definitely a window for me of something this is about being non-binary. And that was something that I did not have a good understanding of, and this book was really helpful for me. Spin With Me, it's written by Amy Polanski, and this is about a girl, her name is Essie. Her they live in St. Louis, and her mom is an artist, her dad is a professor, and he gets a teaching job for just a year at a university in North Carolina, which is my home. Carolina Blue Flamingos. Anyway, and because her mom can't move her art studio, she stays in St. Louis, and Essie goes with her dad. And as soon as she gets to school, she finds this really interesting group of friends. And one of those people in that group is Ollie. And when Essie meets Ollie, she is immediately crushing on Ollie. Just so drawn to Ollie. But what she notices is that Ollie kind of looks like a boy, but he's also, I say they, Ollie goes by the pronoun they use the girls' locker room. And what she's going to find out fairly early on is that Ollie was assigned the gender of female at birth, but identifies as non-binary, meaning Ollie is not a girl, not a boy, non-binary, and has been out with this very open since 4th grade. Totally comfortable in their skin and totally supportive family in being non-binary, and has been greatly helped by the fact Ollie's next door neighbor is non-binary as well, and is an adult, and has kind of helped the family understand this. But so this book really helped me understand more about that experience, what it is like to be non-binary. But it's mostly just a little romance, a sweet middle school romance. They're like in 7th grade, I think, maybe 8th, 7th grade, and it's just a lot of what it's like falling in love for the first time. So it is, above all things, a really sweet romance. Now, what Essie's kind of struggling with is, well, if I am a girl and I'm crushing on this person that's non-binary but was assigned female at birth. What does that make me? And she feels a little uncomfortable with that. And some of her friends from back home that she's texting with are like, well, that's weird. And so she has some of her own stuff. But the interesting thing that sort of starts happening, well, no, that, I'm sorry, I'm getting some plots confused up. There is some bullying that goes on in their school, but really that this book is not so much about bullying as it is about, you know, the process of self-acceptance and first love. I'm kind of going on too much about it because it's a pretty simple story. But
is this the one that you said is really 2 stories? Well, one story.
Oh gosh, thank you. Yes, for reminding me.
Yes.
So the interesting way this book is constructed. How could I leave that out? Anyway, the first half of the book is told through Essie's eyes. She's the narrator. And as it's getting to the middle of the book, I think, well, this story feels like it's really winding down. Well, it was, because the second half of the book is told through Ollie's voice. Same period from the beginning of the school year till I'm trying to remember when the story ends. It ends at Christmas. It's beginning of the school year to Christmas. Essie's story from that time period, and then you hear Ollie's version of that story told through Ollie's eyes. And there's not a lot of new stuff. Some of the stuff that goes on at home for Ollie and what it was like for Ollie when Ollie came out, how Ollie's relationship with their next door neighbor, Annabelle. But it's just the same story told from Ollie's perspective. I really liked the way that that the author did that. It was really neat. Okay.
I've read a handful of stories where they do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. I will start with my graphic novel today. This is The Deep and Dark Blue by Nikki Smith. This is not a super new book. It came out last year at some point. I think I was going to talk about it last June for Pride, but it was checked out. And it was overdue, and I was very sad, so I couldn't talk about it. I'm going to talk about it now. So we fall, and the great thing, it follows twins, and it's also fantasy. So we follow Hawk and Grayson, our 2 twins on the cover here, and they are the twin princes of this realm, and after an attempted coup by family members, they flee. They're the only ones that survive. They flee to a monastery, a nunnery, really, and they pretend to be women to try and hide from the people who are still after them to kill them. And they are spinning, if you can tell. It kind of looks like, I think their new identities are Hannah and Grace, and I'm pretty sure that's Grace spinning. It kind of looks like she's holding cotton candy. It's not cotton candy. It's like yarn that she's creating. And so these women can spin fates. It kind of reminds me of Greek mythology. Yeah, it is. So they spin the threads, and that is their magic. It's great. And as they learn more, because they have a friend there, and they also have someone who's kind of sneaking in and out and telling them, giving them hints as to who's after them, what's going on, and things are not going well. The country is now under the rule of basically a dictator, and they're like, no, we have to get back. Well, Hawk is. Grace is not so much, because Grace is way more happy as a girl than she ever was as prince of this country. And yeah. So Hawk really wants to go back and wants to be the prince and take over. And Grace is like, no,
Likes where she is.
I'm very happy here. Why don't we just stay here? It's fine. So it's really good. Fantasy and coups, I love it.
All right.
And it's so pretty and colorful.
Yes.
Yes, The Deep and Dark Blue.
So going total opposite direction, nonfiction. This is called Rainbow Revolutionaries, 50 LGBTQ plus people who made history. And this book was written by Sarah Prager and illustrated by Sarah
Papworth?
Papworth, yes. And this is a kind of a, oh, I don't mean to be impolite. This is sort of like bathroom reading, you know. Each person that they talk about is just a page with an illustration. So it's the kind of thing that, you know, you can, and I haven't even completely finished it. I'm almost done. But it highlights 50 people, just a page of information about them, so it's not real deep. Ellen DeGeneres, and it talks about what they identify as, although some of it's speculation. I think that was my only beef with the book, was that there were some people that just never had a relationship, and they put them in here as, well, I don't know why they put them in here. Sometimes in history you don't know what people's private lives were like. They didn't have Facebook then, or Twitter or whatever, you know. But it just brief,
TikTok.
TikTok. A very brief one-page biography and what their significant contribution to history was. And just, these are important historical people who also happen to be LGBTQ+. And so this is a really neat book, and you just find out about all kinds of interesting people in the arts, in politics, in science, and yeah, it's a quick book.
Yeah.
Rainbow Revolutionaries.
All right. I will talk about my next one, Too Bright to See by Kyle Lukoff, who, I didn't realize until I had finished reading this book, is also the author of the picture book When Aiden Became a Brother, which is a Stonewall honor?
About a trans boy?
One of those, yeah.
Yeah.
Who has a little sibling and is just delightful. Love that book. Didn't realize this is Lukoff's first novel. So we follow Bug, and Bug has always lived with their mother and Uncle Roderick in Vermont. Right after Bug was born, the dad was killed in a car accident, and Bug's mom decided the only way that I can deal with all this change is another big change, so we're moving to the vacation house in Vermont. And Uncle Roderick comes along, too, just as some support. Didn't intend to stay forever, but that's what happened. And Uncle Roderick was gay, was also a drag queen called Anita Life, which is a great name. Yep. And Bug loves Uncle Roderick. But our story opens, Uncle Roderick has just passed away. Not totally sure what from. It reads like probably cancer. And so Bug, this is the beginning of summer, right after elementary school. Bug and all of their friends are going to go to middle school. And the best friend, Mo, has decided, no, I'm not going to go by Mo anymore. Please call me Moira. I'm going to reinvent myself for middle school. And so Moira's super into makeup and all these things. And Bug is like, I don't know. I don't feel like a real girl. I don't know. This feels fake. I don't know if I like this. Moira, how are you so good at all this? How are you the perfect girl? And so, but they don't talk about these things to each other. It's just...
Your thoughts?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, we don't get Moira's thoughts, but we get all of Bug's thoughts. And Bug is just like, God, how does Moira do it? Ugh, I don't understand. If they would just talk it out, there would not be problems.
But then there wouldn't be a book.
Well, yes, there would, because that's not the main thing. The main thing is that Bug lives in a haunted house.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is also a ghost story, because some weird things happen one night. Bug has this crazy dream. I don't even remember what happens in the dream. It's like a paragraph long. It's not important. The important part is that Bug wakes up and their room is trashed. And they're like, oh, this has never happened before. I know I live in a haunted house, but like, this is a whole new level of crazy. And so they freak out, they clean everything up, and then they're like, I can't remember if they're outside or if they have another crazy dream, and Bug is like, oh no, Uncle Roderick? Are you haunting me? So Bug goes to the local library. That's right. And does some research on ghosts. Smart move. Where they meet a new kid who's just moved into I don't remember what they call it, but like it's this is one of those little towns where, like, you name the house after the people who have lived there for 200 years. Doesn't matter what the name of the people is who move in. It's that kind of situation. And so there's this new kid that moves in, and the librarian introduces them and is like, hey, he's new in town, thought he'd want to meet someone his age and not just, like, dusty old librarians. And so they, like, immediately hit it off. It's great. They exchange phone numbers, they're having a great time, they're both looking into ghosts, because he also lives in a haunted house, because, again, it's, like, hundreds of years old. And, let's see, I'm getting off track, because I'm talking too much. Sorry.
This is a learning curve for us, too, to talk a little bit more precise.
Haunted house. So Uncle Roderick is haunting Bug, basically, is what Bug figures out. That it's Uncle Roderick. Uncle Roderick has come back to tell Bug something, and Bug does not know what it is. And I don't want to ruin it, so that's where I'm going to leave it. But there's a delightful scene with a Ouija board, which is hysterical to me, because my Christian mother, who doesn't believe in ghosts, I always remember going, those are evil, don't touch those. Yeah, good job, Claire. But yeah, crazy dreams, ghosts, and like Mary Lou's first story, it's also kind of Bug learning who Bug is and who Bug will be in the future.
I think that's true of all of these books.
And I mean, at that age, that's, who am I?
Yeah, and particularly your sexuality is emerging. It's going through puberty. And so that's a time where a lot of these questions will surface. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Ghost story wrapped up in identity, and
this one's just gotten great reviews too. I wanted to go backwards a little bit about this Rainbow Revolutionaries. Some of the vocabulary that around LGBTQ stuff can be confusing. And one thing I liked about this book, as well as these little bios, is it has a glossary in the back, and it defines all these kind of terms that are related to identity and gender, and it has all the flags in it. It has symbols and flags in the back. So it's got kind of like some really interesting fact stuff in the back as well. I forgot to mention that. Okay, my next book is Zenobia July, and it's written by Lisa Bunker. And this is a book about a trans girl. And by that I mean that when Zenobia was born, her gender was identified as male. She now has transitioned to a girl, and it's always kind of been there, but she had kind of a strange growing up. Her parents were very conservative Christian people and kept her pretty isolated. She was homeschooled. I think she said they grew up, like, she lived in a trailer and really didn't have friends. It was just kind of her and her parents. Well, when she was younger, a few years ago, her mother died of cancer. And so she's just left with her father, who becomes a lot more, her mother was very loving, very warm and loving. Her father's more rigid, and he really does not do well after the death of his wife, completely keeping Zenobia isolated. And at this point, she's left alone a lot, too. She's experimenting with wearing girls' clothes. And at one point, her grandmother catches her doing that, and that is not good. But the beginning of the book, Zenobia has just moved in with her Aunt Lucy, who lives with her wife, Phil. And her father has died, and there's going to be some reveal about what happened to her father. But basically, she's being allowed to live as a girl openly for the first time, because Aunt Lucy and Aunt Phil are totally supportive. And so Zenobia is going to start middle school, 7th grade, I believe, as a girl. No one at school knows that she's trans. But Aunt Lucy and Aunt Phil are not real girly. They're not real girly women. And they're trying to help Zenobia with clothes and hair and stuff, but they don't care about it themselves. They're like me. I don't wear makeup. I brush my hair, and that's about it. Just give me my jeans and my t-shirt. But they enlist the help of their drag queen friend, Sprinkles, Uncle Sprinkles, who's this big, burly bear of a guy, but that that entertains as a drag queen. And he is the one, oh girl, he is going to help Zenobia. And they go to the mall and they shop. And Zenobia there is a lot of bullying in her school. She immediately finds a circle of friends called the Orphan Misfits. And there's Arlie, who is going through their own struggle with being non-binary. There's a young girl that is a Muslim immigrant from the Democratic Republic of Congo. There's this circle of friends that just kind of, if the bullies in the school are going to bully somebody, it's going to be in that circle. And Zenobia, nobody knows that she's trans, but she's got this big, heavy eyebrow. So all the kids, and her clothes at first are really icky, and the cool kids are really mean to her. But there are some hacking incidents with anti-Muslim stuff. Somebody hacks into the school website, puts anti-Muslim rhetoric on the school website, and Zenobia is this computer genius. So she gets involved in solving the mystery of the hacking. So there's that little kind of mystery stuff going on. But mostly this book is Zenobia learning, going through that first year of living out. And when she reaches a point of being comfortable with talking about herself and this secret, like she's so scared people are going to find out her secret. So that's mostly what this book is about. This is another great book that is a window, if this is not your experience, of helping to understand what that is like. If it is your experience, you might find a real nice mirror to look into here. Somebody else.
I love that cover.
Yes.
It's such a good illustration.
That's really nice. Zenobia July by Lisa Bunker.
All right. And my third and final book today is Redwood and Ponytail by K.A. Holt. So this is one that's written in verse. Thanks to Miss Mary Lou, I read this real quick because I was like, oh no, I need another book. Didn't realize it was in verse, and I picked it up and I was like, oh no, that is huge. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, but she's the fastest reader on the planet. You are.
Not on the planet.
Gosh.
I read fast. I'll admit, yeah, that's true. So, our book, Redwood and Ponytail, is about Tam, who's Redwood, as a nickname, because she's super tall, like a redwood tree.
Of course.
Yep, yep. And Kate, who goes by Ponytail, because she always wears a ponytail. She is one of your stereotypical cheerleaders. And Tam, technically her name is Tamara, but if you call her that, she says she'll throw you through a basketball hoop, so don't do that. And she lives with her mom, who she calls a hippie, and her mom is the greatest. I laughed so much at her, I kept sharing it, because her mom was like, you only YOLO once! And Tam's like, Mom, stop! It's not what you say. Oh my gosh. And her mom's always saying stuff like that. Like, oh, it's so lit, yeah. And, Mom, no. So she plays volleyball, which makes sense. She's very tall. That tends to be a factor for volleyball players.
Yeah.
Yep. And she also lives next door to her neighbor grandma, who is also married to a woman. She's got a cute little old lesbian couple next to her. And she basically, it's her grandma. It's not really, but might as well be. She's been her grandma figure her whole life. Kate, like I said, is that stereotypical cheerleader, and her mom is that crazy stereotypical sports mom who is way too into it. Way too much. She was the cheer captain in school, and she did all these things and all this, and she fully expects Kate to do the same. And Kate's kind of going through a crisis because she's like, I don't know that I want that. At the very beginning, she's like, yeah, definitely. This is what I'm going to do. And her mom, literally, it's great. So there's a fake One Direction band in here called Misdirection. It's not subtle. Misdirection. And so Kate's mom on the first day of school is like, here's an early birthday present because Misdirection's going to be in town on your birthday. So here's a whole bunch of tickets for your whole squad. So you'll totally be captain because they'll all love you. It's going to be great. And Kate's like, oh, it's amazing. Except then very shortly, she learns that the dude who was the mascot has had to move away, and so they don't have anybody to be mascot. And Kate's like, I'll take one for the team. I'll do that. I'll be the mascot. So she's the Falcon, literally in one of those big, giant mascot suits, stinky things. But she finds out that she kind of loves it. And she's like, well, how do I tell Mom? And all the while, Kate and Tam, they meet on the very first day of school and jokingly call each other Redwood and Ponytail. And despite the fact that they have, like, very similar friend groups, they all know, like, everybody, they have never met before. It's their first time. And they really like each other. A lot. And, they're not really sure what kind of like it is. For Tam, it's very quickly, yeah, I really like her. Like a like her. And Kate is a little more in denial. Mostly because her mom is a little crazy, to be quite blunt. She's like, no, I've got this perfect thing. I've got everything set out. Here's what I do. This, and this. Liking girls is not part of that plan. And, yeah, so it's Tam kind of knows who she is, but also not completely. Kate very much is not sure who she is, and is learning that, while also just making new friends and figuring out, oh hey, maybe I actually want to be this mascot, not the cheer captain, because this is way more fun. So good.
Sounds good. I want to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very quick read, because it's in verse.
Well, my last one, are you done?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to cut you off. Is called The Best at It, and this was a Stonewall Honor book this year. This book just came out.
I think last year.
Late last year. Yeah, so it was a 2021 Stonewall Award.
I think 2020.
It wasn't 2021? Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't think.
I thought it got it this year. Because, they come out in January. Yeah, you're right. This came out in 2019, so it would have been the 2020. Sorry about that. Got the year wrong. The Best at It, and it was written by Malik Panchali. I think that's right. And, I don't watch a lot of network TV, but the author, this is his first novel. He does TV shows like 30 Rock, Phineas and Ferb. I think he was a voice in that. He was on President Barack Obama's Advisory Commission on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. He is the co-founder of an anti-bullying campaign called Act to Change. So he's a pretty prominent guy, pretty prominent activist, actor. I think he's been on Broadway. I think I was looking at his kind of his web. But this, and for some, generally when like celebrities write kids' books, I don't even read them. I just I'm not gonna do it.
She doesn't like them at all.
I don't like them at all. I generally don't even buy them. But this guy can write. This was a really, really well done novel. The Best at It is about a boy named Rahul. Rahul is, like many of these books, 7th grade. He lives with his parents, immigrated from India. His grandfather lives with them. He moved in with them from India when his beloved wife died. And Rahul has a very close relationship with his grandfather. After he's supposed to be in bed, they have walkie-talkies. His grandfather will page him up in his bedroom and say, come on, Rahul, let's watch some Bollywood movies. They love to watch Bollywood movies. And they're just really steeped in Indian culture. His mother's like a CEO of some company. His father's a doctor. But they have this whole circle of Indian immigrants. His father has a rock band. It's a Air Supply cover band. Y'all probably have never heard of Air Supply. That's from my generation. And they do Bollywood versions of Air Supply songs. Do the Bhangra dance, which I can't do, but I love. If you haven't seen Bhangra dancing, you got to YouTube it. It's just fabulous. And there's what they call Indian tradition, they refer to adults, significant adults, as auntie or uncle. So the house is always full of aunties and uncles, cooking. It's a very rich cultural life. And Rahul's at that awkward stage. He is an awkward boy. He's skinny. He's physically awkward. He's got braces, he's got glasses, and based on how other people react to him, the sense is he's quite effeminate. And people make fun of how he runs and you know, flinging, anyway. He gets this notion after conversation with his grandfather, he's got to be the best at something. And, you know, he's best at math. That's kind of where the book ends. But, sorry, big reveal, but you're going to know that as the reader. He decides he's going to be a football player because his friends of his father are already ribbing him about not being masculine enough, right? You got to get this boy to be a boy. And so he decides he's going to go out for football. Does not go well. Now, there's this boy that was his childhood playmate that he admires / crushes on. And this boy's a football player. And what he really wants to be like this boy, Justin. And Justin is handsome, he's athletic, he's well liked. I won't say popular, but people just like him. He's a nice guy. And so Justin plays football, so he's going to go out for football. It does not go well. He decides he's going to go into acting. It's very funny. All that stuff is very funny. But his anxiety is increasing because there is one guy in the classroom that is unrelenting in bullying him. Just won't leave him alone. About, like, you people, you're good at math, you know. And he encounters quite a bit of racism for his brown skin. But at one point, this bully walks in the boys' bathroom when they're in there putting makeup on Rahul because he's going to audition for a commercial, and his friend Chelsea's putting makeup on him. And, well, you know.
No.
Anyway, this is just a beautiful story about a boy trying to come to terms with who he is on many levels. You know, his sexuality, what is he gifted at, and his embarrassment at his Indian culture. Oh, when the neighbors can hear his father's band, he just wants to die. But how does he embrace his cultural heritage here in Indiana, which is, you know, kind of a predominantly white part of the United States? So,
having gone to college there, yes.
Yes, and I just loved it. This book was written with so much love, and his family was so loving. And based on what the author says at the back, this is very much his story and his experience of coming to terms with his sexuality. But I just, this book was like a hug. It's just so wonderful. So this is The Best at It by Malik Pachowski.
Nope.
Nope. Pancholi. Thank you. Sorry. got my ethnicities mixed up there. So I think that's our book. Yeah. Those are our books for today.
Yep.
We wish you happy Pride Month.
Yes.
We hope that you'll look at some of these books. We hope they're helpful to you.
Yeah.
And next month.
Because they're just fun to read anyway.
Yes, they are. They're just great books. Great books.
Yeah. And, 2 weeks from today, what are we doing?
Refugee
and immigrant stories.
Yes.
Yes. Because it's Tales and Tales for
and
summer
Tales.
reading.
So part of what we're looking at least in the month of June, is people telling their tales. People that are maybe outside of what we think of the margins of our society, telling their tales. And then in July, we're going to look at other kinds of tales.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the TALES.
Yes.
No, TAI. Never mind.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at other
Tales
kinds
and
of
tales. Multiple tales.
Yes.
Many
multiple
tales. Yes. So I'll see you next week for a Crafternoon, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for more book bites.
Yes.
Bye.
Happy summer.